Welcome to MSL Talk with Tom Caravela, a podcast specifically designed for MSLs and all things field medical. Welcome to a new year, everyone. I'm really excited to see what this new year has in store for us. And I'm also excited to take this journey with you guys. Thank you all for listening to this podcast. Thank you for making it a success. I have a lot of really awesome information to share with you today. This is something that I'm really passionate about. We're going to talk about goals, but more importantly, a strategy on how to achieve them. Every year when a new year starts, we hear the word resolutions and, what are your New Year's resolutions? And I kind of feel like that word resolution is one that's just, I think resolutions are made to be broken. And I don't know why. Maybe it's a connotation or just, I feel like goals hold us accountable. Goals are what we set out to achieve. So I'm going to use that term and hope that I can help you all in developing a plan to help achieve your goals this year and every year. So I'm gonna jump right into it. One of the things that I want to start with is I have a list of 8 tips to help define and set goals. This is, I think, a great place to start if any of you are struggling with just not being good at goal setting and not knowing how to go about it. Maybe you don't have as much direction from your company or your supervisors. There's some really easy tips that I'm going to share with you that I think would help provide some direction. So first and foremost, there's no perfect time to start. You just have to do it. Don't overthink it. Just do it. Don't wait for the perfect time. There is no perfect time. So number one, I want to encourage everyone to set aside some time and do this. That leads me to number two. Number two is a really important piece of this equation, is your goals must be in writing. You have to write them down. And I would say stick to maybe 10 or 15. It could be a combination of both professional goals and personal goals. I would say try to not make it 30, 40, 50, 100 goals. I think that just makes this whole process too overwhelming. So I would say a combination of 10 to 15, maybe 20 tops, professional and personal goals. But just remember, it has to be in writing. A goal without a written plan is just a wish. Number 3, use present tense when you're writing down your goals, almost like as if you're placing an order. So I earn, I achieve, I weigh. You want to get yourself into the state of believing that you're already have achieved your goals. So you want to get into a state of actually receiving as you're documenting it. This is really powerful, and it's going to have a profound impact on how you go about this. Number 4, you need to set deadlines and timelines for your goals. And I know a lot of people struggle with this. They're not sure exactly how much time they need to give for each task. So there's definitely some trial and error in this. One tip, one thing that has worked for me that I've seen people be successful with is try to establish timelines or deadlines around an event. So for example, if you're going to ASH or ASCO, let's say, try to establish things that you want to get accomplished before that event. Obviously, there's a lot of work involved in handling those events. But on a professional level, what projects, what initiatives, what do you want to get done before you go to ASCO? On a personal level, maybe you want to lose 10 pounds before ASCO. You want to fit into a dress that's too tight, or you want to fit into a suit that you really want to wear, but it's too tight. Well, set a goal for yourself. I want to lose 10 pounds before ASCO. I want to lose, 8 pounds or 12 pounds before June 6th or whatever the date is. And that's a way of holding yourself accountable. It definitely works. Number 5, make a list of what is needed to accomplish your goals. And I know that this sounds like, geez, Tom, I'm already making a list. Now I'm making a second list. Well, here's kind of what I mean by this. When you have your list of 10 goals or 15, whatever it is, maybe pick one. Try to find one that jumps out at you that you want to impact immediately in your life. And then make a checklist or some type of list of what you need to accomplish in order to make that goal real. And what that does is that really redirects and puts your focus on what might be most important. And it also helps you to develop an action plan. It sets your course of activities and tasks that you're going to do to achieve that one goal. What's great about doing that is now you're figuring out how to be strategic in accomplishing these goals. And then once you accomplish them, you reestablish and you can set another goal. Number 6, this is really important. You have to schedule tasks daily. You really have to fill your calendar. I think that sometimes we get a little lax and we have too much white space in our calendar. And that's a mistake because we're leaving minutes and hours on the table each day when we need to be packing our schedule with blocks of time. I like to use the term chunking time. So if you chunk your time, you're saying, I'm going to spend the next 2 hours dedicated to this task. I'm going to turn off my cell phone. I'm going to turn off my email, and I'm just going to work for 2 hours to accomplish this task, this paper, this project, this report, whatever it might be, towards that specific goal. And by doing that regularly, you're going to be astounded at how much you're going to get done. It's really effective. I hear this term time blocks now. There's kind of a new term for it. So definitely incorporate that into your plan. Number 7. So this is more of a concept than anything else. But just remember, growth and comfort do not exist together. In order to reach your goals, you really need to get out of your comfort zone. This is something that when you accept the fact that you're going to have to change something, change is something that doesn't always sit well with people. Change is bringing you out of your comfort zone. But in order for you to make an impact on your life and on your goals, you have to be prepared for change. Get out of your comfort zone, get after it, be prepared to struggle a little bit, and that's going to bring you closer to your goals. Number 8, action is required. You definitely have to take daily actions, because if you don't, you're just going to have a wish list. Your goals should be looked at as verbs and not nouns. This is really important. This is the most important piece of the equation. You have to be prepared to take daily action in order to accomplish and achieve your goals. Henry Ford once said, you can't build a reputation on what you're going to do. So think about that for a second. I think it's really profound. I think it's really important. Those are the 8 tips that I have to get started. So the first thing is to really define, what are your goals? What do you want to happen? That's really, really important. Get it down in writing. Be completely aware. Maybe take a deeper dive and figure out what you may need to do to start to accomplish these goals, start to establish some tasks, and then you need to get after it. Now, here's what happens. And I know there's a lot of people saying, Tom, you know what? Every year I do this. Every year I get overwhelmed. Every year I don't know where to start. And I hear this all the time where people are like, I want to switch jobs, or I want to land my first position as a medical science liaison. I don't know where to start. Where do I start? So if you're getting overwhelmed, if you're overthinking the magnitude of things, I want to share a story. It's from a book called The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse by Charlie Mackesy. So the boy and the horse are in the woods. The boy says to the horse, I can't see a way through. The horse says, can you see your next step? The boy says, yes. So the horse says, then just take that. Take the next step. So as you go on this journey of trying to attack and approach your goals, influence change in your life, just remember that story. You don't have to hit a 5-run home run. You don't have to expect to do all of this in one day or 1 week. Just take the next step. Let me give you an example, just real quick, of how this has happened in my life recently. So just like all of you, I took a little time off during the holidays. I actually I have a place in Florida, so I went out there for a week, totally broke my routine. I slept later than I normally do, ate stuff that I don't normally do, worked out differently, and did exactly what I set out to do. Broke my routine. It was great. 80 and sunny every day. Now, of course, that has to end. It ended abruptly. It ended by having 2 flights canceled, winding up on a 6 a.m. back to New Jersey. When I landed, it was 18 degrees Fahrenheit. So I was thrown back into my routine, back into my world. I was kind of excited to do it until the alarm clock went off the next morning. Now, keep in mind, I had a 6 a.m. flight. So I got up at 3:15 the morning before, worked the full day, got in from New Jersey, worked the full day. I was at my desk until about 6 o'clock, went home. I was on my computer till about 9:30, still doing stuff, catching up on stuff. So when I went to bed that night, I was like, someone shot me in the head. Literally. The alarm clock goes off at 5 a.m. and I'm like, hell no. All I want to do is go back to sleep. I honestly didn't know where I was. I'm like, am I in Florida? Am I in New Jersey? And I just was like, I think I just need to go back to sleep. But something in me just said, get out of bed. Just get out of bed. And I did. I got up. I got out of bed. I don't know what my purpose was. I don't know where I was going. I still was half asleep. So I just started walking. And as I'm walking, I'm like, get coffee. So I went and I got coffee. I got my coffee. And then I was like, okay, get a plan for the day. Set your intentions for the day. Give yourself 15 minutes. And that's what I did. And then I was like, okay, get dressed and go to the gym. Now, that's overwhelming. I'm like, I didn't really know if I really wanted to work out. I was like tired or whatever else. So I just said to myself, just drive to the gym. Just drive there. I don't know what I was going to do when I got there. Long story short, I put these steps together. I finished my workout, had a great workout. The next thing you know, I'm sitting at my desk. I'm at work. I'm bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, somehow, some way. And I got the day in. So when faced with being overwhelmed, not knowing where to start, just take the next step, whatever that might be. And in your mind, go back to, what is it that I just need to do next? So I mentioned something really important. I said that I took 15 minutes to set my daily intentions. And that's what this podcast is all about. It's about the power of setting daily intentions as a key to achieving your goals. So here's how it works. Follow me on this. Guys, trust that this is something that's proven. I'm going to share science behind this, but just try to follow me on this. Here's the process. Every morning, take about 15 minutes of quiet time with your own thoughts. It could be first thing in the morning when you're drinking your morning coffee. It could be when you're driving to work. You could be walking on the treadmill. Try to find 15 minutes, a quiet place where you're by yourself with no distractions, but it definitely needs to be in the morning, because you have to do this to start your, doesn't have to be first thing in the morning, but it has to be in the morning. And here's what you're going to do. It's basically a 3-step process. So number one, you want to spend a few minutes thinking about maybe 3 or 4 things that you're grateful for. Could be anything. It could be you're grateful for the nice weather we're having. You're grateful that your kid passed a really difficult exam the day before. You're grateful that you have the gift of children. You're grateful that you have a great job. It could be anything. It could be really, really small. It could be really, really big. But you want to start your day with gratitude. And the reason you want to do that is because it's the best way to put yourself in a positive state. It's the best way to show appreciation for what you have in your life. But most important, you're putting yourself in a state of receiving. And by putting yourself in a state of receiving, it's setting yourself up for the course of the day to have expectations to receive good things. So I can go on and on about the importance of gratitude, but just make it a practice to start your day by thinking of a few things that you're grateful for. Step 2, and this is well, they're all important, but this is really important. You want to spend a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes, thinking about what you want. Think about your goals. Think about what you're hoping to achieve that day. So this is where we get a little more granular. So maybe you want to complete a project at work. You want to do well on a test. You want to have a great workout at the gym. If your personal goal is to lose 5 or 10 pounds, maybe your goal that day is to eat really healthy and clean and do really good on your diet. Or you want to drink, a gallon of water that day, because that's something that you have on your accomplishments checklist of something that you need to do. Guys, this doesn't have to be anything specific. It just has to be tasks that are going to help you get to your goals. So spend some time and don't overthink it. Just fire out thoughts of what you really want to happen that day. Step 3, and again, tremendously important. You want to spend a few minutes imagining how great it's going to feel when you complete those tasks. You're actually going to picture yourself at the end of the day celebrating those tasks. Maybe when you're driving home from work, or maybe when you're just about to go to bed, or whatever it is, you really want to feel a sense of accomplishment for the day's success. So you're basically putting yourself in a state of believing that you've already received the things that you set out to do for that day. It's a visualization technique. It's incredibly effective. And again, it goes back to the belief of receiving. So you're thinking about what you want. You're setting tasks throughout the day. You're doing these things, but then you really want to think about the idea of what it's going to feel like when you get it. Now, I know there's probably a lot of you that are like, Tom, this sounds a little hokey to me. There's science behind this, guys. I have been studying this for a while. There's definitely science behind this. So let me share with you some information that I've learned. I was actually listening to a podcast on the Ed Milet show one day. A gentleman by the name of Andrew Huberman, which is a neuroscience and tenured professor at the Department of Neurobiology at Stanford University School of Medicine, was on this podcast talking about elite brain training. Huberman explained that dopamine, which we all know is a hormone associated with pleasure and mood, is released anytime we are moving towards something and we think that we are on the right path. So not just when we actually get there. So dopamine actually rewards us for effort, for struggle, and for the pursuit of our dreams and goals, as well as the anticipation of getting it. Huberman says that the brain is always seeking novelty and reward. So if we're deliberate and intentional by thinking and believing that we're on the right path, we are rewarded with the release of dopamine because the brain and the body cannot tell the difference. I mean, this is really powerful stuff. He says that we should be intentional about celebrating our efforts and struggles because we're going to be rewarded. We're actually going to feel it. And it really is true. It's hard to explain and it's hard to express, but this stuff is really powerful. The process of setting intentions, it only takes a few minutes, but when you're really focused and you do this consistently, you will start to see that it works. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Just be consistent. Don't overthink it. Do it. And I can tell you that what's going to happen is you're going to start doing it at night too. Because when you go to bed, you might be laying there and you want to start to think about, hey, my day went really well. And all of a sudden you're going to start thinking about, I'm grateful for this. And I'm excited that tomorrow I get to do that. And then you start to envision it happening. So the process that you set, that intention setting that you did in the morning, you could do it at night too. So, and again, because it's only 10 or 15 minutes, it's not something that you should be overwhelmed with. Now, let me take a step back because I want to tell you ultimately what this does. We talked a lot about the process and the science behind it, but what are you going to see this do? Well, I could tell you from my experience, it's going to make you laser focused. It's going to make you accountable to yourself. It's going to help to eliminate or at least decrease fear. And the reason for that is that you're going to be so focused that you're not going to have time to really be in fear or doubt anything. It just really helps to eliminate doubt. It creates awareness. And when you have awareness, that creates choice and redirects your focus to where it's supposed to be. And that causes you to take action. This idea, concept, and practice of being intentional is one of the most decisive things you can do. And it's one of the most self-directed things you can do. We only have so much energy each day to do what we need to do. So if we focus that energy on the stuff that really matters, the stuff that we want to happen, our goals, the tasks that are going to get us to our goals, and we're consistent about it, I mean, could you imagine how much we can accomplish? The one disclaimer and the one thing I will say is that you're going to have bad days. I guarantee that there's days that you're going to get derailed. There's days you're going to get frustrated. There's days that aren't going to go the way you wanted to. It's not going to happen exactly the way you plan it. Just expect that every once in a while, you're going to have bad days and get past it. Accept it, move on. Don't dwell on it. Don't let it derail you. Don't let it take you off course. Just move past it. Accept it for what it is. And maybe there's a reason for it. Maybe it's part of a bigger plan and it's directing you to another place. Whatever it might be, the key is to just get back after this, continue to do this, stay consistent, and you're going to see tremendous, tremendous results from this. I want to leave you and just conclude with one last concept. What if we met ourselves at the level of our expectations? I'm going to say that again. What if we met ourselves at the level of our expectations? Just imagine where we can go. So think about that concept as you approach this, because you're not going to rise any higher than how you see yourself. Start to see yourself where you want to be, and I bet you'll get there. Guys, I hope this works for you. It's been really effective for me. I wish you all the best, and I want to hear from you. I want to hear how this is working. I get a lot out of, and I do this because I really want to make an impact. I really want to help everyone. The reason for this podcast is to pay it forward and help people get to their goals. So this episode is the epitome of what I'm doing this for. So let me know how it's going. Let me know if you have questions. Let me know if you have challenges. I kind of want to hear everything. Just shoot me a note, obviously on LinkedIn or email or however you want to communicate with me. That would be great. But get after it. I wish you guys well. I think that this is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. So get after it. Good luck and keep in touch. Hope this was good. Thank you so much for listening to the show. If you've enjoyed it, please subscribe so that you don't miss episodes in the future, and feel free to leave a rating or a review or a comment. Thanks again, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.